Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. We've got one of our favorite people of all time in the house, our mayor of Salisbury, Jack Heath. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Greg. Nice to be here as always.
So this week in the paper, you were part of a double-deck banner headline, which I rarely get to employ in the newspaper. So tell us what it was about.
Well, I'm going back now, how many years? 8 years?
At least.
At least, I think. And I've been serving the city, which is a love of mine. And I've been having some issues lately with my health. And my family did a sort of an intervention and said, hey, you need to take care of yourself. So I announced that I was going to withdraw from the mayor's race. And it was a hard decision. It was a very difficult decision. But I believe now, in retrospect, it was the right decision.
Well, of course, I'm among the people who think it was the wrong decision because it's all about me, and we love your leadership and your service, and it's going to be hard to replace, Jack. It really is.
I appreciate that comment. No one is irreplaceable, but I think, and hopefully what I've done is I've established looking for the word. I've established a sense of commitment that I think that the younger folks are starting to handle. This is going to be a very important election, probably one of the most important in a number of years. And just to throw a little plug in, I hope that everybody researches all the people that are running. Do your homework, because if the wrong people get elected, this city may go backwards, and I don't want to see that.
And we're seeing a lot of cases recently where people are not doing their homework as citizens. I feel like, where we put news out there and then they're still like shocked when something happens, even though that we've telegraphed it as much as we can in advance.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. But yeah, you really have to look at candidates. You really have to.
Yeah, you have to. And I think we've got some good ones, some good young people who are obviously good thinkers. They don't react, they think, and they respond, which is the way that I would like to see it. If you remember, one of the things that I ran on, and the reason that I got involved in politics was because I believed that there was no civility in government. And I think if there's one thing that we've managed to do, we've brought civility to the government. Not that we agree all the time, because we don't. And you can see it if you watch the work sessions, you can see that we don't agree all the time. But we do with respect to each other, which I think is the proper way of doing it.
Well, I remember you first physically came on my radar 10 years ago. I knew your name from when you were at Lower Shore Enterprises. Mm-hmm. But when you ran for city council, I guess it was the spring of 2014.
Yeah.
You and Jake
yes.
were running in a race against Debbie Campbell.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in the wilderness. I had written the business plan for Salisbury Independent, but the paper hadn't launched yet. And I was just trying to get re-immersed in city politics. And I really didn't know Jake Day either. I knew Debbie Campbell from way back. But at one of the chamber functions, you all spoke, and Jake and Debbie were talking about issues in the West Side and things. And you made a speech about civility, and I was like, this guy is on the right track. Because, yeah, we could talk about all kinds of other development and progress, but it's really bad in that room 301 when those people are talking to each other. And this man, Jack Heath, has a sense of what it should be like that would make Salisbury so much better immediately.
Yeah, well, I truly believe that, obviously. I think one of the things that I'm most proud of, and I was there for 8 years, because I was appointed when Jake moved up.
Yeah.
So in all the years that I was president of the council, I used the gavel twice. And I consider that to be quite an accomplishment. But the reason I could do that was because everybody bought in on it. And yes, I was the oldest person, so maybe some of it had to do with respect for your elders. But I think that when we started to see that form and that way of doing business was positive and we can get more done, I think everybody bought into it. And we've had changes on the council of different people through resignations and movement and stuff, and we've managed to maintain that.
What do you want your legacy to be? I mean, you didn't have as much time as we wanted, but when you think back on this, what are you going to be most proud of?
There's a lot of things. I can honestly say that I voted my conscience every time, and stuck to my principles. Whether you agree with me or not, it's something that I was taught by my family. My dad had a lot of sayings, as you know, if you're 10 minutes early, you're late, and I believe in those things. And then that I cared. I care about the people, and I think those are the two main things.
Did you expect this for yourself at the end of your career, to be in this kind of a role in our community?
No, not at all. I was a successful business guy. I enjoyed that. But I have stated, and it's true, matter of fact, I stated on your show, the best job I ever had was Lower Shore Enterprises. And I got to know the true meaning of commitment, dedication, and caring for people. And I've tried to live up to that, and those are the things that I'm most proud of. And my family. I've been a family man. My wife is a saint to put up with all the stuff that I've done. And she was there consistently for the children, between volunteer firefighting and but that's a way to serve your community, and I believe everybody should do that. It's heartwarming now to see in the last couple of weeks the number of volunteers for committees and commissions. We had tremendous amount of openings, and they're filling up, and they're filling up with young, committed people, that's the secret to success for any city.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing. These citizen committees are vital to the council making good decisions.
Absolutely. And then it's not just the council's decisions, it's everybody's decision.
Right.
So I'm optimistic. I really am. I will be honest, it's been a rough couple of weeks, almost now, month or so. But I'm actually sleeping better at night, because I can see that there's positivity coming out of it.
One of the things I'm really happy with, and again, like everything in government, not just in Salisbury, it happens everywhere, but the new headquarters, the council, the mayor and council being in that building now, some new vitality in that building, getting out of the government office building for those meetings, that room 301, a new start. Yeah. I'm really excited about that. How do you feel about that?
I think it's great. First of all, it's quiet. It's very quiet,
Right.
And I have no trouble getting work done. Plus the fact that, to me personally, when I was volunteer fireman in Fruitland, and we used to cover for Salisbury when they had, I actually spent some time there and took a couple naps in that building. So it has a little more special meaning for me. But and it's supposed to be haunted, and I think it might be. But it's a great place. It's a beautiful building, and I think it's going to be good for the city.
Yeah, Salisbury needs that. Rather than being a stepchild in a county building, to have your own place like that, and institutional thing, it just says a lot about the city. Here's our city hall.
Yeah.
First meeting will be there when?
The next meeting is going to be I believe it's a work work session, and that will be Tuesday after Labor Day, and we're looking forward to it.
So on Monday, though, I missed the beginning of the meeting, but I don't think you guys made a big deal about the fact this is the last time that we'll be meeting in the government office building.
No, you tend to focus, at least I do, when we get in those meetings, I focus on business.
Yeah.
We had some important stuff to take care of. We have a lot of appointments coming up that'll be we've done a lot of hiring, a lot of interviewing in the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and we filled some great positions, and I'm looking forward to that. It's been a good run. It's been a good couple of regrets, but
You want to tell me what they are?
sure. One of the things I wanted to tackle next year is tax differential. It just frustrates me, and a lot of people don't know what tax differential is. And the simplest way I can put it is we pay the same amount of taxes as everybody outside the municipality does.
Everyone in the county.
Everyone in the county.
Right.
We pay the same taxes. However, we take care of all our own roads, and that's the easiest example for people to understand.
Right.
So the county doesn't have to spend any of the taxpayer money on the city roads, yet we have the full burden.
It's a double taxation.
It's a double taxation,
Yeah.
is what it is. We are the last county in the state of Maryland where municipalities don't either get a tax differential or a stipend.
Right.
And it's not fair. It's never been fair, and it always gets brushed off. But I think if people really understand, and there was a concerted effort by the citizens of Salisbury to say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. I think that's one of the areas that needs to get changed because we're struggling as a city. We had to raise taxes this year, first time since I've been involved with politics, and people were upset and aggravated. And I did say at one meeting, I said, don't get upset with us. We're being dual taxed. Some of the money that we're paying for services we don't receive could go to not raising taxes. So that's I think my main regret that we haven't really done that. The other one is it's a concern. If you remember when I was running for county executive, I said that there's two things that concern me. One is obviously the septic system in the county, and that's come to pass. And the second one was the lack of volunteerism in the fire department. And I don't think people really understand what the financial impact on that for not just the county, but for everyone is going to have. And I was looking forward to start helping to develop some concepts where the model we have doesn't work, and we need to get another model. And I hope somebody takes the mantle of that and runs with it.
Yeah, there needs to be some leadership on the first responders issue,
Yeah.
all across the county, because it
Definitely.
really has changed a lot.
Oh,
And we've gotten used to the old way, and we just think it's going to continue, but it's not.
no. Well, back in those days when I first came down here, and we had, if you look at it, I was on Fruitlands because I lived in Deer Harbor, and that was the closest department. And when you look at it, they had a 15-person waiting list when I came down.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got on was because I had experience in 3 other fire departments before I moved
It
here.
was the hardest club to get into, volunteer fire companies.
And when you look at who was there, John McIntyre, McIntyre Electric.
Yeah.
Dick Carey, Carey Distributors. Benny Malone, Texaco. You go down the list, and they were all business guys. During the day, we could put full crews out with
Right.
no issues whatsoever.
Right.
Now you hear the sirens going off multiple times, and we're depending on mutual aid. It's hard, and that model has got to be fixed.
Yeah. Fruitland didn't have an ambulance for a long time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
We all know people hate change. I hate change, but I love progress.
That's an oxymoron, I think is the word for that.
Well, I love going in the theme of the show. That's not going to work. That's wrong. And then I'm wrong, and it works great. So there's so many things in town, whether it's Waverly Drive or Vision Zero or Unity Square. And whenever these things start, as soon as a shovel goes in the ground, everyone goes crazy. and then like within 3 years they love it.
Yeah, the
Except
funny
for
one,
Vision Zero.
yeah, the one that I remember the best was the traffic circle and the comments that you had made
Yes.
about the traffic circle.
Yeah.
And now it's the greatest thing since Swiss cheese,
I
and
love
we're
it.
looking for more places to put traffic circles.
Yeah.
So and I understand.
And in social media, someone says something bad about the traffic circle, the next 11 people defend the traffic circle.
Right.
And it used to be just the
Just
opposite.
the opposite, yeah. And we're going to see changes. I mean, there are some things that I'll give you an example. We were talking before about successes that I think that I've been able to get involved with. I've told, when I first got to be acting mayor, I said, we talked about projects, and we had multiple projects that were unfinished. And from a business guy's point of view, it makes no sense to me. So I said, from this point forward, we are not going to start a project until the current projects are done. And as we finish one, we can start a new one. And we're starting to see that with Waverly's being finished, Carroll Street's being finished. And the other thing that I think that I hope that I've accomplished is we've begun a marketing campaign for the city. The private sector has no monopoly on marketing. We need to tell people what we're going to do. We need to get them involved, which we did during those other projects, like the bike lanes and all that. We had multiple meetings that were pretty well attended.
Yeah.
And the development of the master plan at Salisbury University,
Yeah.
multiple meetings. Well, the rest of the people who aren't there need to hear about it.
Yeah.
So we have to do a better job at marketing. People have noticed, it's really funny, I had them put two pictures on the corner of Division Street in front of the health department building of what the finished product of Carroll Street, because it's amazing how many people thought
Right.
that Carroll Street, the way it was last year, was the way it was going to be forever.
Right.
And with those crazy lines and everything else. So I think that if we do a better thing of marketing, it's going to make that change. Because you're right, when I moved down here in the 80s, change was not a highlight, it was like something to be dreaded. And I think we're becoming more used to it, but still we can do a better job.
Yeah. Well, part of growing up in Ocean City, too, things changed all the time there. So
Right.
I got used to change.
Right.
But Salisbury was always going to be stable, but Salisbury needed to change more than any place.
Yeah. I can remember when we first got down here, walking down Main Street at night and watching the stores open. And Christmas time was an amazing time on the plaza and Main Street. And then
Gone. Yeah.
And my wife and I drove down the other night, and it was just, everything was open, and the food establishments were there. And you saw the big Ross sign on top of the building, and there's activity.
There's
and
a vibe.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And some people, I guess, haven't experienced it yet, but I hope they get down and see what we're trying to accomplish. And the other thing, people always think that government is they don't make any mistakes. We make mistakes like everybody else makes mistakes.
Sure.
Did we do a good job with the parking downtown? No, we didn't do a good job. What we did is we reacted to what the people were saying, and then we've been updating it every few weeks, and it's calmed down a little bit. You've got a core group of people who come every meeting and complain, but people, that's life. That's what it is. You can't make everybody happy, and if you're going to be a politician, you better understand that, because somebody's always going to say you're wrong. But I think there's good things going on.
Well, as someone whose profession is to take what you're doing and let people know about it, in any of the platforms, the news platform, the paper, or the online, it was so frustrating. With Unity Square, like no one knew it was coming, and we'd written about it 100 times. And I was really upset that no one seemed to know what was going on when we had done all this work on it. And the city had done a lot of work in terms of like projecting
Yeah.
what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But then when it flipped around, people were like, well, once we Googled it, we saw there were a lot of stories about it. And then we understood, yeah, this has been going on. But there was like a 10-day period there where
Yep.
everyone was outraged, and they realized, okay, they did tell us, just somehow we missed it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that goes.
And it wasn't called Unity Square, it was just like the town square,
Town
whatever.
square.
So there was that kind of confusion too.
Yeah.
People mixed up a town square with Unity Square, but yeah.
And I think that one of the things we talked about, visuals work a lot better than words.
Right.
So I envision when we go to do any projects, and I hope it goes forward, that there be a visual posted near where the project is.
Right.
So that you can see, oh, wait a minute, that's not bad.
Right.
The final product's not bad. So I think that that's another thing that, and it's been very clear from me that that's going to have to happen. And we've gotten better at it in the last month, but we've got a long way to go.
Well, something as simple as the sign on the fence on Division Street when you're headed south. Go over here and park, no
Right.
problem. Go over there and park.
Yeah.
We're going to open this thing up as soon as we can. Calm down.
Yeah.
With a picture of it all.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful sign. You see people pull up and look at it,
Yeah.
and they get it. It
Yeah.
communicates so much in just a few seconds.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm saying visuals are the key. They are in any business. You're selling your product. You've got to go out there and show them what the end product looks like.
You've always talked about your staff, how great they are. Do you feel like you're leaving? Well, you're going to be in here for another 3-4 months, but you feel like you're going to be stepping away with a good staff in place?
Oh yeah, that's my goal, is to make sure that the positions are filled. They're filled with good, solid people, and let's face it, the top guy is only as good as the people underneath it. I think I mentioned once before that the very first guy I worked for, when I got my own first plant to manage, he said, you have a good work ethic. He said, but the key to being a good leader is to surround yourself with great people, give them the resources they need when they need them, and then get the hell out of the way.
Right, right.
And I think that holds true. I don't care whether you're the President of the United States, or you're the mayor of Salisbury, or you're the owner of a business. If you have good people around you and you trust them and let them do their jobs, the business or the entity will be successful.
Yeah, and what I see in the city team, and there's been some transition, but each of the figures has unique talents
Yeah.
that they bring to the table.
Yeah.
So like Julia Glantz, I thought, again, where I'm wrong about everything, she's not city administrator material. She was great.
Yeah.
I used to watch John Pick, who I really admired. I think maybe Julia was better than John Pick. Yeah. She had a way of getting things done.
She did, and I look, when I first got involved and spent a lot more time at the mayor's office. Take a guy like Andy Kittrell. I tell everybody this, and they sort of look at me funny. You can see him think. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anything like it. But we're talking about a topic, and I look over at him, and he's listening, but he's not just listening. He's already in his mind thinking about what the solutions are going to be or how we're going to accomplish this. And there's several people like that. We hired an assistant comms person, Jordan Ray.
Great job. Boy, I'm enjoying those videos. They're terrific.
I opened up.
I would encourage everyone to go to the city's Facebook page and see his videos. It really makes you feel great about the community.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I had a meeting, a public meeting, and I was sitting at my desk and I was making notes for what I was going to say. Jordan comes in and says, "Can I come in a minute?" Yeah. He hands me a finished speech. I read the speech, and I went, "Okay." And he's done that 3 or 4 times,
and it's not
without me asking.
It's not
him.
like you need that kind of help, because
No.
you could wing it and do it great, but it doesn't hurt to have someone
No.
plant some other ideas that you want to make
Correct.
sure you pontificate on.
Correct. And that's the kind of, I mean, he does that. He walks in and goes, hey, here, just.
Yeah.
And then he does all these Instagram, I'm not an Instagram person. So, but I saw a couple of them, and they're like, it's in person. It's person to person.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to be good for the city. He's tireless. He's got more energy than I've ever seen in my life. He could be 15 places at once. He was at the governor's thing yesterday at the chamber, and some of the stuff that he captured was remarkable. So we're very lucky to have him. And then there's Donna and Jesse, and Tom Stevens has been a big help, and he's going to be leaving in a month or so, and we're going to get an assistant placed. That's a key position. It's Andy has done the job of 2 people, and I don't want to give him a big head, but he's doing very, very well.
Well, I was at a downtown parking meeting, and you weren't there, and no one from the city really should have been there, but it was city staff meeting with some of the downtown businesses. And the meeting went well, but there was some tension, in the room about parking, some concerns. But Andy had explained things really well. And I was walking out of the building with him, and he was talking to someone else. I was like around him. But my thought was, wow, there's a lot of the weight of the city of Salisbury that's on Andy Kittrell's back right now.
Absolutely.
And rather than go, how's this going to go? I went, it's going to be okay. I had a feeling like he can handle it. Like that was a tough room, and he handled it really well. So I thought, okay. And the first time I ever experienced him, reading the Daily Times when I was the editor one day, he was working on a petition or whatever to overturn the revenue cap for the county, and he was like a high school student who was just very active in local politics. So he had a passion, and he had a real concern about his community, even as a teenager. And I thought, this kid's going to be something.
Yeah.
And I think we're lucky to have him in the community.
Oh, definitely, definitely. We've got a bunch of great people. We really do. People don't know how lucky we are to have that kind of a team behind us, and that's the other thing too. A mayor coming in is sort of like, it's like the CEO. You've got to just you can't do everything. You just got to make sure that the path is clear and defined, and then you have to let like I said, you have to let your people do their thing. And I don't hesitate when I say it, and because I know that they're going to execute, which is very comforting, because even in business, there's been times when I haven't had all the that kind of a staff. Eventually I would, but so yeah, I think we're going to be in good shape. But again, we got to get the right people in there to make sure that we continue.
Well, I didn't succeed today. I didn't get to make you cry that was my objective. So can you come on one more time before you step down in November?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then we could do a cry thing?
Hopefully not.
Because by then it'll be like when Ray Hoy was leaving, all these retirement dinners and parties and events and
I saw Ray the other day and I went, he looks really good now. So maybe this isn't the worst thing, but I'm going to miss it. So we'll see what happens.
He's a newsmaker. He's our mayor, Jack Heath. We're thrilled he had time to be this here today. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, Greg.
I'm Greg Basser from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. Another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.